I'm Mike from St. Thomas Economic Development, here with another little update from St. Thomas City Hall. Okay, we're back once again with Councillor Steve Peters, Professor Steve. And Steve, we were hoping today you could tell us about a little bit of the history of some of the parks in St. Thomas. We're very lucky to have some excellent parks here. Some of them are quite old, and we're hoping you could kind of take us through that story.
Well, in the early days of St. Thomas, from our earliest days, really up until the 1870s, we didn't have any public parks. You know, people relied on recreation, whether it was swimming in Kettle Creek or going out and exploring the little creeks around the city. The kids of today don't do that as much, but you know, I grew up spending a lot of time outside. But it really wasn't until the coming of the railways that we started to get into this movement of a need for open recreational areas. And the big beginnings were the railway lands and the Queso station that had been constructed and opened in 1873. And on the north side of the Queso station, virtually the whole stretch of land from Ross Street almost all the way through to what I would say Woodworth Ave today was all a large park. And that park was the recreational area for the city of St. Thomas. There were baseball diamonds there, there were walking trails there were flowers, there were trees planted. And that was really, if you wanted to go out for a Sunday stroll, that was where you went. But you still needed people as the city grew, and we've seen how the city has grown. Other parcels of land had to be brought in and were brought in. So one of really what I call the first St. Thomas Park is Waterworks Park, located at the west end of South Edgeworth Road, just west of Balaclava. Waterworks Park was established in 1890. St. Thomas didn't have any drinking water at the time. We only had fire protection water that had been established in 1874. So St. Thomas wanted to have drinking water, and they built a water treatment plant on the site of present-day Waterworks Park. But one of the things they also did was they bought another 10.5 acres of land that had been known as Hubert's Grove. The Hubert family lived up on Hughes Street, kind of the north end near Tecumseh Street, and they purchased all that land and developed our first city park, which is Waterworks Park, in 1890-91. And right from the earliest days, rides were established down at the park. The popular attraction of the lily ponds wasn't added until the 1930s. The ponds were done. It was a very low, swampy area. And you have to remember, in those days, all the employees lived right at the park. There were two houses at the bottom of the hill where the new hospice is being constructed. There was another house at the top of the hill. And so those employees had lots of times to tend the gardens. And it was those employees that established the lily ponds in the 1930s as a make-work project. And it's still one of the most significant features today. And I have to admit, all around, I have a bias, having grown up at Tecumseh Street and having Waterworks Park as our backyard 365 days a year. Waterworks has always been my special spot. But as we started to grow as well, another park was established. In 1898, we had a street railway here in St. Thomas, and it was electrified. And the street railway virtually traveled all around the city of St. Thomas. And in 1898, the street railway purchased what is known today as Pinafore Park as an area for recreational purposes. They ran a special train line all the way out to Pinafore Park, and even today there's still some remnants of it. If you drive down Wilson Ave as an example, and you wonder why there's a divided boulevard down the middle, that divided boulevard is where the street railway ran. So the street railway went broke in 1903, but they had already established a dance pavilion and the park features and things like that. And the city purchased that land in 1903. And so Pinafore Park technically became our second city park. Just as a little sidebar, the name Pinafore comes from the play, Gilbert and Sullivan play, HMS Pinafore, which was released in 1878. And we, at least as far back as 1880, Pinafore Lake, or Lake Pinafore, was called Lake Pinafore. So that name has been around for a long time. 1903 was also an important year in the establishment of another park, and that was the athletic park that is down at the base of the St. George Hill. And the athletic park was donated by a gentleman by the name of W.K. Cameron, and that was used as a recreational field as well too. So we really started to see our parks grow and expand around the city. And also the green movement took place. So there was a lot of small little parks established around St. Thomas. So we're really fortunate that the city fathers and had the foresight. And as we grew and developed, all of the areas had green space established in them. So you had a whole series and network of parks that were established. Anywhere the city grew, a park was established. And that was really, really important from a recreational perspective. And you know, our parks, there used to be a lawn bowling club on Metcalfe Street. There was tennis courts down in the athletic park. You know, eventually the tennis courts moved out to the Pinafore Park area. You know, we've seen arenas developed, disc golf courses developed. So we've really, the JC swimming pool. So we've got this real diversity. And now, you know, we're seeing this new growth in pickleball, whether it's outdoor or a new indoor pickleball facility that's been established. But I just want to close on one note of something that's really special. London always claims that, you know, they have, with Labatt Park, the oldest continually used baseball diamond in Canada. But we're pretty darn close in St. Thomas, because there's one park that we call that's the Lions Park today, but that was called the Atlantic Park, and they were playing baseball back there in the 1880s. And Pinafore Park, the baseball diamond at Pinafore, was established in 1898, and there's been baseball played continuously at Pinafore since that time. So baseball has a long history in St. Thomas. Actually, the first baseball game was played in St. Thomas in 1869. So lots of recreational opportunities over the years, and we've been able to utilize the growth to provide those sites for our citizens. You know, I talked about disc golf as well, too, and down at the old Spawns Flats, great spot for tobogganing for kids, by the way, but the VA Barrie Park has got one of the premier disc golf courses in all of Canada. One of the holes, I think it's hole number 8 or 9, is probably one of the most famous holes in Canada, where you throw off the hill down into the valley. But, you know, we're fortunate with the Disc Golf Club of what they've done. They've established another disc golf course down on Dalewood Drive, and that's thanks, VA Barrie, by the way, is a former mayor of St. Thomas, Vince Barrie, and he donated the land to the city for parks purposes.
Well, Steve, thanks once again for taking us through a little bit more interesting history of the city of St. Thomas. I don't know how you keep it all in your head, but you really are quite a wonder. Everybody, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and don't forget to
smash the subscribe button.